Picture yourself sitting in a dark theater, completely absorbed in a film playing on the giant screen. Your pulse races during the suspenseful scenes. Your eyes might sting with tears during the sad parts. You laugh out loud at the funny moments because the story feels intensely real. But even at the peak of the drama, a quiet, simple truth remains undisturbed. You are the one sitting safely in the seat, not the character living the drama on the screen. Now imagine your own mind as that movie screen. Thoughts, memories, worries, plans, they flicker across it nonstop. Some are gripping and beautiful, some are scary and unsettling. Many feel incredibly urgent. The trouble starts, the suffering starts, when we forget we're the watcher. When we climb into the movie, treating every thought as an undeniable fact, and every feeling as absolute proof of that fact. That fundamental mix-up, confusing our thoughts with reality, is one of the fastest and most common ways we generate anxiety, stress, and emotional whiplash in our lives. Many people describe being constantly swept along by their minds. One what-if thought quickly spawns 10 more. A single critical thought instantly becomes a final verdict on their worth, and their sense of peace evaporates like mist in the morning sun. Psychologists call this cognitive fusion. It means being so blended with a thought that it feels like the ultimate truth in your very self, all rolled into one inseparable package. But there is another way to live. You can learn to gently sit back in the seat again. You can learn to observe the screen of your mind with clarity and compassion, without having to fuse to every single storyline that plays across it. This practice is about learning how to step out of the mental movie, reclaim your rightful place as the observer, and rediscover the steady, quiet peace that has been available to you all along, right underneath the drama. So why do we do this? Why do we mistake thoughts for reality so easily? Understanding the roots helps us approach ourselves with kindness instead of judgment. First, there's the power and the trap of language. Words are incredibly useful for labeling reality, but they are not reality itself. Labels like failure, unlovable, or unsafe, these are just words, mental concepts, not fixed identities. But when the thought "I am a failure" appears, the language makes it feel solid and real. We mistake the map for the actual territory. Second, there's ego identification. The ego, that constructed sense of me, stitches together beliefs, memories, roles, and opinions to form our personality. If thoughts are its very building blocks, then questioning those thoughts can feel like a threat to our very existence. So the ego clings to thoughts, treating them as precious and undeniably real. Third, our brain has a built-in negativity bias. To keep us alive, the brain is wired to prioritize potential threats. In our modern lives, this often means that worry thoughts get amplified with loud sirens. Your body mobilizes as if a tiger just walked into the room, when often it's just a scary future scenario playing out only in your head. And finally, most of us were simply never trained in awareness. We learned algebra and history, but nobody taught us the difference between thinking and observing our thinking. We weren't taught meta-awareness, so naturally we get swept along by the stream of thoughts instead of learning how to step onto the riverbank and simply watch it flow by. This fusion isn't a personal failure, it's more like a default setting of the human mind. But it is also the source of so much needless suffering. We react to stories as if they are facts. We fight shadows, and in doing so, we completely miss the calm, quiet reality of the present moment. The antidote is simple, though not always easy. It is learning to observe. You don't have to stop your thoughts. You just need to change your relationship with them, moving from being an unconscious participant in them to being a conscious witness of them. Think of this as training your observer muscle. Here are some practical techniques. First, mindful breathing. This is your steady anchor. Just sit comfortably for 1 to 5 minutes. Feel your breath, perhaps at the tip of your nostrils, or the gentle rise and fall of your chest. Don't try to control it, just notice it. When your mind wanders off into thought, and it absolutely will, gently note wandering without any judgment and simply come back to the sensation of breathing. The breath is always happening now. Each return is one repetition, strengthening your observer muscle. Second, labeling thoughts. When a thought appears, you can softly, internally, name the process, not the content. Just label it. Thinking. If it's helpful, you can get more specific. Worrying. Planning. Judging. Remembering. This simple act creates immediate distance. You see it clearly as just a mental event, not a command you have to obey. Third, see thoughts as sensory events. Try noticing the texture of your thoughts. Are they heavy or light, fast or slow, sticky or airy? See them like clouds crossing the vast sky of your awareness. Or you could try hearing them as just sounds in your mind without even decoding the words. Or watch them as images flickering on an inner screen. This is a classic technique called defusion. Thoughts become just experiences passing through, not the solid reality they pretend to be. Fourth, shift to your 5 senses. This grounds you instantly in what is. Ask yourself, what do I actually see right now? Notice colors, shapes, light. What do I actually hear? Sounds near and far. What do I actually feel? Your feet on the floor, the air on your skin, the chair supporting you. Just linger here for 60 seconds. Your senses pull you out of abstract concepts and back into direct contact with the present moment. And fifth, notice the gaps between thoughts. As you practice observing, you'll start to catch brief pauses in the stream, little openings where for a moment, no thought is running. Don't try to chase them or hold on to them. Just simply notice when they appear and rest in that space for a moment. These gaps reveal awareness itself. They show you that you still exist, even when your thoughts pause. Now, this isn't just about mental hygiene. This practice of observing your mind is profoundly spiritual. It's an act of hospitality, making room for God amidst all the noise. First, it creates stillness for prayer. True prayer is two-way. Observing your thoughts helps quiet the mental static so you can actually listen, not just talk at God. Think of Psalm 46:10, be still and know. Observation helps you access that stillness. Second, it sharpens your discernment of voices. As we've discussed, the ego speaks loudly, often in fear and scarcity. God's voice usually carries peace, clarity, and love. By observing the quality of your thoughts, are they tight or spacious, frantic or steady? You get better at asking, whose tone is this? Third, it moves you from concepts to encounter. Thoughts about Wustan are not God. In the quiet space between thoughts, many people begin to sense God's presence directly, not as a sentence, but as being. The map gives way to the actual terrain. Fourth, it builds trust beyond understanding. Watching your mind constantly try to control, solve, and predict everything reveals its inherent limits. This naturally invites surrender. Faith learns to lean into God's character, especially when the mind cannot compute the circumstances. And finally, it releases spiritual performance anxiety. When thoughts like, am I doing this faith thing right? Or, am I praying enough? Arise, simply seeing them as thoughts loosens their grip of shame. Your worth is grounded in God's grace, not in your mental scorekeeping. Observing your mind doesn't sideline your faith. It deepens it. It clears the inner space so you can notice, trust, and respond to the God who is nearer to you than your own thoughts. Let's try a short, guided mind-watching meditation right now. You can do this for just 5 minutes a day. First, settle and anchor. Sit comfortably, Soften your gaze or gently close your eyes. Take 2 slow, deep breaths. Feel the gentle rhythm of your in-breath and out-breath. Now shift into observation. Imagine you are sitting peacefully by the bank of a gently flowing river. Your thoughts are like leaves floating by on the surface of the water. Your only job is to watch them float by. Notice without engaging. Whatever appears in your mind, images, sentences, memories, plans, just acknowledge its presence. No need to fix it, analyze it, or chase after it. Just see it. If it helps, you can use optional labels. Whisper inside, thinking, worrying, planning, just naming it. Then return to simply watching the river. See the flow. Notice how thoughts arise, linger for a moment, and then dissolve. They are impermanent. They get replaced by another thought. You don't have to jump onto every leaf that floats by. Return when you get lost. You will get lost. You'll find yourself swept away by a storyline. The moment you notice this has happened, just smile inwardly. Ah, I was lost in the movie again. And gently, kindly return your attention to just observing. That return is the practice. Finally, notice the space. Every now and then, sense the background, the quiet awareness that is always here, the space that is receiving each thought. Just rest there briefly. Close with one slow breath, a silent thank you for practicing. Open your eyes and try to carry just a sliver of that observer perspective into the next thing you do. So much of our unnecessary suffering comes from fusing with our thoughts and treating their passing weather as the entire world. Learning to observe your mind loosens that fusion. You don't stop thinking, you just stop obeying every thought. You notice, there's the catastrophe forecast again, and you return your attention to one grounded, faithful step. You notice there's the old not enough tape playing, and you choose to speak one sentence of grace over yourself. You notice I'm arguing with reality again, and you breathe, tell the truth, and respond wisely. This is the very heart of peace beyond thought, cultivating a kinder, clearer relationship with your own mind, which naturally opens up more space for God's steady, quiet presence. Keep practicing. The screen of your mind will still flicker, but you'll remember where you're sitting. If this reflection helped you find even a moment of stillness, subscribe for more weekly guidance from Peace Beyond Thought. And if you feel called to go deeper, you can explore our resources at peacebeyondthought.com. Remember, doubt your thoughts. Trust the stillness. Peace is already yours.